Every day I forget something. Today I forgot to put the mic on. Good morning. It's Friday, ahead of a long 3-day weekend. I think we can all use it at this point. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. You have no idea how grateful I am that you give me your time in the morning and that you choose to be here. I hope that we're providing new value every day. We got some people from Massachusetts today. We got Tom Drolette from Massachusetts. Two people from England. Oh, Massachusetts and England, not New England. That's interesting. So good morning, Petrol. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's see. Alberto Gasco, good morning and afternoon from Barcelona, Spain. I've heard that is a beautiful, beautiful city. Let's see. Catherine, good morning from Florida. I'm with you in Florida. We had some crazy rain yesterday. And by the way, thank you for becoming a member of our swing trade community. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Hey, Min, how are you today? Good to see you again. Shane Eaton, good morning. John Weinberg, good morning, pal. Let's see. James Daniel, good morning. John Bates, how's the trip? You still winning over there? Let's see. I'd like to hear about TTCF. So we're going to mostly stick to ideas today. So, hey, Cecil, how are you? Where's NE? Ogallala, NE. I'm not familiar with NE. Where is that? Oh, is that Nebraska? Oh, okay, cool, very cool. Let's see. Hey, Hank, good morning. Hank, I like that beer in the morning. I'm going to be having a cold beverage right after the market closes today. Let's see. Milky Fade, how are you, pal? Good morning. Sean Fisher, good morning from Maryland. One of my best friends is actually taking his daughter down to Maryland to look at schools next week, I think. Indiana, awesome. Denver, Jonas, I have heard Denver is the most beautiful place in the country, actually. I have a couple of good friends that live out there. Let's see. Brian Carr, always good to see you every morning. Awesome. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start moving along. We're actually going to do a couple of things today. Weldon from Texas. All right. Let's see. Bill W., South Carolina on vacation. I almost moved to South Carolina before I moved to Florida. I was looking at Simpsonville in South Carolina. Really beautiful area. Hey, Phil, how are you today? Good morning. Where else we got? Midler Volmy. Good morning. How are you? Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Armando. Armando, I emailed you back last night. Got 2 out of 3. We set the third one on the Profit Maximizer, but good job studying the video again. Hilton Head. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice area. That's the golf capital of the country, right? All right. So what we're going to do is today we're going to do a couple of different things. I get a lot of questions about software. So I'm actually going to take you kind of behind the scenes into the software that I have. I'm using TradeStation. Yesterday, we talked about Finviz and we talked about TradingView and how to set those up. Pretty good segment yesterday on TradingView, especially. We're talking about scanners and that kind of thing. And then we talked about Finviz. A couple of people had asked about the Finviz time delay. So the thing with Finviz, let me actually pull that up on the screen. Finviz actually has a delayed service and a real-time service, I guess is what you would call it. But I believe that the real-time service goes down to as little as, I think it updates every 10 seconds or something along those lines. So the Finviz, what's called Finviz Elite, which is basically getting real-time quotes, I think it comes down to $35 a month or something along those lines. So I think it goes down to 10 seconds when you get the real-time data, and then 35 a month, if I'm not mistaken. The other one that we talked about was TradingView. TradingView is the software that most of our community starts out with, especially newer traders. It's a very, very simple software to use. Can do a lot of good different things with multiple time frames and that kind of stuff, where we normally set up the monthly charts, the weekly charts, and the daily charts to determine what we're looking at and all that kind of stuff. So those are the two, I guess you might call retail software that I actually suggest these to a lot of members of our community, simply because they're both super, super easy to use, but really powerful for the cost. Very good. Very, very good, actually. Let's see. Dubai. Wow, we got somebody in Dubai today. Hey, Robert, how's it going? That's actually awesome. What an amazing time that we're living in. Let's see. Barry and Boca. All right, we're not that far from each other. All right, Catherine, first swing trade with us yesterday. Hopefully, Catherine, I know a lot of people are busy and whatnot, but if you have some time, definitely get to know some of the people in the community. We have just the most amazing people on the other side. Everybody, the way our community is built, it's all about collaboration and everybody helping each other. And I think you'll see that when you're in there. Let's see, Richard Gresham, Minnesota. All right, Richard, thank you so much for being here. So what would that make it? 2 hours behind. So I think it's 5:30 in the morning by you. I don't know about anybody else, but I love trading super early in the morning. California, I think, has the best. It was 3 hours and you're done with the day by 1 o'clock. Let's see. Bruce B. Tiger Man from Bali. All right. Thank you, Bruce. Jason from Moscow. Wow, we are everywhere today. This is great. Bam Salute from sunny Sarasota. That's a beautiful area, too. I have some friends out in Bradenton over there, too. Let's say, hey, Bob Curtis, what's going on? How are you? Nice to see you here today. Apple Valley, Minnesota. Good morning, Chris and Franz, both very valued members of our private community. And let's see. I'm Good 34 from Johns Island, South Carolina. All right. So that's the forward-facing software. That's kind of like the retail software. So I thought what would be kind of fun today is if I take you behind the scenes and we take a look at how my software is set up during the day and everything that I look at, because we got a ton of questions about TradeStation. Just to give a heads up too, it's very easy to share TradeStation setup. So we got a question last night in the comments about if somebody comes into the boot camp with us, can they get the same trading setup that I have? And the answer is yes, actually. So everything I'm about to show you, if you're in our community, I can share the screen setups and all the monitors and everything. So you can just download them and then upload them into your software. So let's see, from Seattle. All right. Yeah. TGI Friday is absolutely on everybody's minds right now. And I it's interesting. Let me actually just zoom this out for a second. The price action that we had in the market yesterday from an active trading perspective, it was pretty much big gap up, neutral, sold off, neutral, and then the last two candles of the day made it look like it was actually a reasonable day where the market traded into what we call a melted candle, which is basically, again, just to give some language, we like to keep everything super easy. Out of all the candlesticks that you could possibly watch, there's only 4. There's an energy candlestick, a melted candlestick, well bid and well offered. That's it. Nothing else. So that's a melted candle. A melted candle here in the SPY, which is, we're talking about this one here. You could imagine a stock opening here, trading all the way up, coming back down, and basically opening and closing in the same spot. That's indecision. So that's what we got in the SPY yesterday. But the indecision actually looked a lot better because of that last 10-minute rally. For the most part, the market was kind of neutral. Neutral to slightly selling. We finally saw a little bit of selling in the VIX yesterday. And if we jump down to the shorter time frame charts, this actually was a little bit more severe to the upside than it was. But the big thing that we're not seeing is we're not seeing the VIX on the daily chart slowly grind higher. So basically what that means is if you could imagine you're an options market maker and it's your job to create the price of premiums. So actually, just do me a favor, type in the chat if you happen to be trading stocks and options right now, because I'd like to get a kind of feel. Because in the future, we're actually going to have some guests come on in the morning, both from other securities like stocks, like myself, options, crypto, forex, futures. We're going to actually have some additional types of content, and I'd like to introduce you to some of my friends that are trading as well. So options for Milky Fade, Armando, yes. Okay, so what if you could imagine buying options? You have to pay a premium for those options, and sometimes the premiums are higher, sometimes they're lower, and that's actually one of the biggest reasons that people trade options is they want the leverage and the absolute downside, but that's not the best reason to trade options. That's actually incorrect reasons to trade options. You need to factor in implied volatility versus historical volatility. You need to factor in time to expiration. I'll give you a good example on that. We recently had somebody in our community who was buying options using the swing trades that we call out in our swing trade alert service, and he wasn't buying enough time. He was buying basically options that only have 2 weeks to expiration, which is a really, really super short time to expect a trade to play out. So you're really kind of behind the 8 ball as soon as you put that trade on. So you really need to consider that. So the point that I'm making here is if we're talking about the VIX and how the VIX affects your trading, and it affects your position sizing, it affects your share size, as long as the VIX continues to be slowly grinding down or going sideways, we're most likely going to see a slow grinding move to the upside. So that means that the distance between the open and the low and the high, the distance will kind of shrink because the volatility is shrinking. So that means your stop losses will be a little bit tighter, and you could probably have a little bit more share size because those stop losses are a little tighter. So even if you really the extreme of that is you can think day trading versus swing trading. Your swing trading stop loss is obviously going to be much wider than your day trading stop loss. But when we see the VIX starting to contract, options premiums start to contract. The cost of those premiums contract because they're not expecting a lot of volatility. When the VIX starts to go up, the premiums expand, so do our stop losses, and so do your position sizing. I know that's a lot to hit you with, but these are the things if you really want to be somebody who takes this seriously. And I know everybody, it's 7:30 in the morning. I know you're taking it seriously. I'm just trying to stack the things that you need to consider. Volatility, and this is really kind of an advanced lesson, but the volatility in the VIX, even if you don't know, if you don't know trading options, knowing the VIX is important because as the VIX starts to come down, prices start to contract and your stop losses generally get tighter. So in that sense, that means that you can actually end up building positions a little bit better with more share size because the volatility has contracted. So the distance between your entry and your stop loss is going to be smaller. As the VIX expands and the VIX starts to go up and volatility expands, you're going to see whippier, wider type price action. So that means that the wider stop loss is going to dictate a lower share size. So this is advanced stuff, but it's the kind of stuff that we want to talk about every day because this is really what separates somebody from like, I know every bull flag and bear flag and head and shoulders pattern and ascending wedge. That's not trading. That's chart reading. That's a very big difference from learning how to trade. What we're after in these calls and our private community is we want to have conversations about how to make money. That's a very big difference between chart reading and trading. And I know I say that all the time, but it's a really, really big deal. All right. Okay. So we do have a lot of people trading options. All right. Awesome. You know what? I want to bring this up because this is important. And Sunil, all right. I got disgusted with my trading and coming back after a few months. You know what? Every trader goes through that. I've gone through that. I thought August was a really tough month to trade. I kept my losses small when I wasn't trading and wasn't in a groove. When I wasn't trading well, I wasn't in a groove. But I want to tell you something right now, Sunil. Everybody goes through this. Every trader I've ever traded with has their ups and downs in trading. And the biggest thing to recognize as a trader is if you're not trading well, absolutely lower the amount that you're willing to risk per trade, because if you're not in a groove, you want to kind of try to trade your way out of it, but you want to lower your exposure so that you start to get back into what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What do I have to stop doing? And you know what? Taking some time off, that's not the worst thing in the world. So if you opened your account, you got beat up a little bit, don't even look at the markets for a week or so and then come back with the fresh eyes. But here's a big thing. Make sure that you write down everything that you feel like you were doing, and you'll start to notice patterns. Was it you? Was it the market conditions? Were you trading too big? Were you holding your losers too long? Were you not holding your winners long enough? And then come right back with a refreshed, recharged mindset to eliminate what wasn't working and then just start to make good habits on the other side. So, Sunil, I feel for you because I've been there. There have been plenty of days where, I haven't been friendly to my keyboard. It is frustrating sometimes, but I'm going to tell you this straight up. And, you see we're on YouTube right now, and I tell everybody how grateful I am that you're here with me right now. There's a lot of people on YouTube that make it sound like every day is roses and every day is rainbows, and that's BS. That's not real. We're here to live in the real world where some days it's awesome. Some days it's challenging. Some days you can't do anything wrong. Some days you think your charts are upside down. That's what real trading is, and that's what we want to make sure we have in our community. And look, as much as I'll be the first person to tell you the market conditions were tough, And this is something that, I don't know why I keep pointing. This is something that a lot of traders who trade on their own from home, a lot of traders from home don't understand this, which is sometimes you have no idea if you're kind of trading in your own head and you're like, oh, I lost $500 today, whatever it happens, whatever the number is, whatever is a number for you, right? Sometimes you have no idea if losing $500, but you took every trade that you thought was a good one. Sometimes you have no idea that only losing $500 means you traded really well because you lowered your share size and you didn't overtrade. You didn't trade size and get your head beat in. Trade size and so you pulled it back. But the other side of the equation is a really, really big one. What if you're sitting home right now and let's just use day trading as an example. And let's say the market was, and well, you know what? We'll actually talk about this. I'm going to bring this into the screen right now. Where let's say we're looking at the market, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail in a second. Let's say we're looking at the market, and let's say you see this yellow line over here. This yellow line is, maybe you can't see. Let me expand that a little bit. So this is a chart of the ticks, the New York Stock Exchange ticks. So let's say that yellow line right there during the day, let's say the ticks don't go below zero the entire day or for most of the day or for even like a 3-hour period where it's 0 to plus 800, 0 to plus 1,000, 0 to plus 600, and we don't see any negative ticks. We don't go below there. At the same time, the VIX is just slowly grinding lower. It just pushes down, pushes down, pushes down. So the market internals are looking good. You look over at the rest of the screen. The Dow, the SPY, the NASDAQ, all above the opening price, all positive for the last 2 hours. We're seeing the financials light it up. That's a moment in time where if you tell me you made $500 when I should say to you there was $3,000 on the table, you need to understand that too, because you can't be satisfied with the day where you did good when there was a lot more available. So that's our job. I don't know if you learn like professional athletes. They say they kind of let the game come to them. I know a lot of people talk about setting goals and whatnot in trading, but really our goal is to trade flawlessly. Our goal is to recognize what kind of conditions we have. Again, we talk about it all the time. I think it's one of the best ones. Was it open road or stop and go? Was it raining? Was it snowing? The one that I just described in trading is the one that most people miss. And it's kind of what separates what we do. And it's been a little challenging lately because the market has the rotation's been back and forth, as you can see here on the screen. But what makes a great trader special is when they fully accept losses as just nothing more than a business expense, a part of what we're doing. But what makes somebody truly special because you're consistently profitable is understanding the conditions that I just outlined and stepping on the gas. Because I'll be the first person to say, lower your share size. This market's a mess. Look for momentum trades because we're not getting follow through. Respect your risk. I'll be the first to keep telling everybody that kind of thing. I'm like the driving instructor next to you when you get the license. However, I will also be the first person to tell you everything is lining up. Do not get out of your winning trades right now because of the VIX, because of the ticks, because of what we're seeing in the market internals. And then taking that a step further, which is what I want to talk about on the screen. And we actually talked a little bit about today about sector rotation. Sector rotation is one of the biggest things that I talk about every day. I got some comments, which are great comments because they're kind of questions about that's too much. I can't watch all of that. That's 100% okay. Trust me, I'm trading for 21 years. We have a lot of professional traders in our community, in the private community. You don't need to trade everything. There's 3 different ways to find a list of stocks. You can find a group of stocks that are sector specific. So for example, we'll just pull this up on the screen right now. So let's just say, for argument's sake, we're looking at the XLF. And if we're looking at the XLF, this is the XLF over the last 5 days. So we're looking at financial stocks that make up the XLF. So that's one way of finding a group of stocks. And quite honestly, it's a very common way for active traders. And I'm sure you've heard that hedge funds are long or short only. There's also hedge funds that specialize in financials and oil stocks or tech stocks or those kind of things. So you need to think, as you're creating your trading plan, what is the easiest way for you to feel confident? What is the easiest way for you to have conviction? Now, I happen to have a little bit more experience, so I can process all of this data. But if you're a brand new trader, you might just want to choose, and I'm going to actually go over to my other software. So let's say that we're looking at Finviz again, and I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger for you. If we're looking at Finviz, you'll notice over here that I have what I call a universe. So this universe of stocks is a different list of stocks. It's stuff that I watch every day, no matter what. So this is kind of interesting because there's sector specific ideas. So you pick the sector and then you go to the leading stocks in that sector. There's a way to do that, which I'll share with you right now, which is actually kind of cool. Let me pull this up. So there's two different ways. So one of the primary ways of doing this is by using ETFs. So if you go into, let me actually make this a little bigger for you. So if you go to this page, you go to Spider ETFs, and let's just say for argument's sake, we'll click on XLV, the healthcare sector, okay? So Spider ETFs, and then you go to holdings inside of this, right? You have all of the different stocks that are in here. And you can actually download the CSV file, and it tells you the weight. So you might want to take the ones that have at least a 3% weight in the XLV. So you watch nothing but the chart of the XLV every day. So if you're looking over here and you're looking at the XLV, whether you're looking at it on a weekly chart to look for swing trades over time, or if you're looking at it on a 5-minute chart to day trade, you use this as your primary proxy for whether or not the group of stocks is obvious, and then you go down into the individual stocks. So that could be the list of stocks that you're trading. So one way of doing it is here. You go into the spiders and then you pull up the holdings within that. A different way of doing it is going into Finviz. And I think I mentioned this recently, but I'll do it again in case you weren't on the call. So you go into Finviz, and I'll give you my basic criteria, which is here, which we talk about every day. So price is average above $15 or above, average true range of $1.50, which is from the low to the high on average, and 2 million. And I'm only talking about stocks. So then you take it a step further and you would go into healthcare stocks, and that brought up 26 stocks. So whether you take this list of stocks or you take the XLV healthcare ETF and its holdings, either way, you're working your way down. On my TradingView, this is a different universe of stocks that I've culled over the years. Some stocks go in, some stocks go out, some stocks are easy to trade. And this is from doing the game planning every day, where I go from sector to sector to sector, and I look for stocks that have the leading price action over the last couple of months, the last couple of weeks, and then bringing that all the way down into the last couple of days. So that's two ways of doing it. So one is sectors. Let me actually just come back on the screen there for a second. One of them is focusing on individual sectors. You could choose one sector. You could choose multiple sectors. And let's face it, you might have one sector that's really, really in play for a day or a week or a month, and the other one is in your list, but maybe not in play. Or you might have them both in play, and then you have to work your filters down even further, which is what we talked about yesterday, maybe a little bit earlier in the week. So let me just bring this one into the screen, which is this one. So this is my TradeStation setup during the day. And what we talked about yesterday was this filter down here. Let me actually zoom that out a little bit. So this filter. So let's say for argument's sake, this is the list of stocks that you're watching, whether it's a universe or a sector. Then you have, these are probably the primary ones. We have the average true range to tell me how much the stock normally does, where it is during the day. The net change from the previous day. So that's the close from the previous close. This is probably one of the most important columns, net change from the open. That tells me if the stock has a big green candle today or not. So if we work on, actually, it's not going to tell me now because market's closed. And then we work our way over from monthly, weekly, daily, and 60 minutes. So there's a lot to unpack here. So once you have your list of stocks during the day, that filters it out even further. Okay, let me just answer a couple of questions in here. Let's see. Did you mean TradingView than Finviz? No, John, I used both of them. You know, we spent a lot of time this week talking about scans and that kind of stuff. So we essentially use Finviz and TradingView to scan for ideas, and we do our trades. Then I generally go over the TradingView charts, and that's how I finally come up with the final list of stocks to trade. So there's a difference between all of the stocks that meet the criteria. If you can imagine this, this is really where this is why doing a trading game plan takes a little bit of time, and you have to put the time in, because a stock could be above a moving average and meet the criteria and be like, yeah, I can't wait to trade that stock tomorrow. But what if the moving average is flat as a board? That's not an edge. You want your moving out, you want to go deeper. Is the moving average rising? Is it above yesterday's high? Is it above the previous week? Is the previous week well bid? You got to dig in. And the more time you put into that game planning, that's really where the treasure hunt is. The treasure hunt for good ideas is doing the game planning. So again, I just want to say there's three different ways. There's building your own universe, like I'm showing you here. There is sector specific ideas, and how many sectors you watch is up to you. So one sector, maybe 10 stocks, and that's easy to follow. And don't forget, all of those stocks are not necessarily going to be in play on the same day. However, if they are, what happens? If you're looking at, let's say, the solar stocks, and you're looking at Run and all those stocks, and all of a sudden the whole sector is green, every one of those stocks that you're watching that's in your game plan is green for the day and the week, you better make money because all of that order flow is on the same page, and you better be like, wow, I'm hitching this ride. It is going, and I'm going to max out. It only takes one or two good trades the entire week to make your month. So think about that. You're chicken scratching back and forth, small losses, small profits, small losses, small profits. That one doesn't come back, and now you need to learn how to use the profit maximizer on those. One of the biggest, hugest mistakes in trading is people who think that every trade needs to be a winner. Get that garbage out of your head. We're here to talk about the real world. We're here to talk about real trading. Some trades make money, some trades don't make money. Some trades make money, we're looking for a head start on good ideas. We're looking for follow through in order flow, and then looking to hold those trades using a profit maximizer. That's the real world that we live in. So what I just talked about, sectors, building a universe. The third one is just running chart patterns where you're working the charts. Very similar to what I talked about here yesterday. If you didn't happen to catch yesterday's video, it was all about this and learning how to work the charts and finding patterns, bull flags, bear flags, breakouts, all of that kind of stuff. I personally use all of them, but I use all of them within context because sometimes there's good breakouts. Sometimes there's a universe of stocks that are working. I will tell you this, though. If I was to teach my nephew trading tomorrow, let's say my nephew came in, he's like, Uncle Pete, I want you to show me how to be a trader. If I was to teach my nephew tomorrow, I would probably choose the sector route. I would probably tell him, okay, we're going to take over the last 3 months or even over the last month, which sectors have been the most obvious, which ones have been showing higher highs, higher lows. So I'm actually going to show you, we're going to finish up on this topic because I have to head over to our private game plan meeting in a couple of minutes, but we're going to finish up on this topic. So if you go over here again, and we're looking at ETFs. So this is the list of the ETFs, okay? And all of the ETFs are listed here. But what I would have him do is I would have him start to look at two different time frames. I would say, okay, we're going to look at the monthly chart, and we're going to look at the weekly chart. From this monthly and weekly chart, we're going to start to look to see how consistent is smart money paying higher prices from 1 month to the next, and how is that translating into a push and a pause, a push and a pause, and a push and a pause. And when we start to find a couple that are obvious like that, which we've been talking about healthcare for a while, then I would tell him to drive a little bit deeper into those ideas. And that would be and again, I want to say this very clearly, okay? I want to put this in context. I never want to be misquoted. The easier trading is when you're following the smart money. Sector rotation being obvious, where from one day to the next, 1 week to the next, 1 month to the next, smart money, deep pockets, people with a lot of research, a lot of money are paying higher prices, holding higher lows. Sector rotation traditionally lasts months. At least a month, 3 months. You go from one quarter to next. There's economic, geopolitical news, oil, anything along those lines. That's the easiest way because they're segmented. And here's really the deeper reason that it's easier to follow sector rotation and be in the right stocks. You want to make money, right? The whole point you're here with me at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the mornings. We want to get some knowledge about making money. We can talk all about the market's easy, the market's hard. We talk about reality of good days, bad days. You need to focus and sit up in your seat when you're watching a sector and you got 10 stocks in that list, and 2 days during that week, 8 out of those 10 stocks were positive from the open, positive from the week, positive for the month. You better print money. That's the difference between somebody who is saying trading doesn't work because they're all over the place versus I know exactly what I'm looking for. And when I see it, I'm getting paid. If it's not there, I'm going to lower my exposure. And Paul just brought up a great point, which I want to make sure it's on the screen here. Eliminating the big losses. That's a big part of the equation too. Don't hold losing trades. There's so much opportunity out there. And I'm telling you, I had a tough month trading during August. It was like this. And it was like that, and back and forth, back. But it was a contained month where the follow through wasn't awesome. But when you keep the follow through, when you're here, and whether it's the month, the day, or the week, if you're here managing profits, managing risk, all right, that one didn't follow through. Or that we had a trade in AMC yesterday, went up, pulled all the way back. A couple of other trades pulled up, pulled all the way back. And then you know what? One trade in the afternoon, one trade on Friday doesn't come back and follows through. And we could actually talk about one of the stocks that we had yesterday in our game plan, which was UPST. You only have one stock like this that doesn't come back. And if we pull this up on the daily chart, just to give you an idea, this was a breakout yesterday that we took, and this was the first couple of hours of the day. So if you were in our community, you saw that was in our game plan yesterday morning. I personally didn't call it out, but it was in our game plan yesterday morning. That's where the money is. I can't stress, if you want real world trading, if you want to give yourself the right mindset to understand what it really means to be a trader. Look, I got all the trading books. Those are awesome, but you know how you actually make money? By trading and paying attention. This is the real world. The real world is trades go like this. You manage the upside, you manage the downside. You manage it, you manage it, you manage it, and then you get a couple of trades that follow through. That's how you actually make money. So I want to go back to what Sunil said before about being frustrated, about taking some time away from trading. We've all experienced that. What separates somebody, and I hope Sunil is still on the call and he takes this to heart, is going through that, recognizing what happened, why it happened, and then coming back with the right mindset that says, I know what the heck I'm doing and I'm not going to make those mistakes anymore. If I find the month, the day, or the week tough, I'm going to lower my position size. Maybe like Lynn Ramirez in our community does, I'm going to go for a jog for half an hour and then come back. That's what real trading is. So if you're on this call right now, I'm going to tell you right now, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, you have a hunger to do this and you really want to do this, keep coming back every day because you're going to get the real stuff from me. You're not going to get the garbage where stuff is going to the moon and all that. You want the real stuff, you come here every day and we're going to have these conversations about what it really takes to be successful as a trader. And you want to know what the biggest part of that is? It's between your ears. It's understanding how to handle adversity. It's understanding how to handle success. You know where the biggest losses I've had in my career were? After big wins. Because for some stupid reason, I'm like, well, I just made a fortune on that trade. I can allow my losses to fluctuate a little more. That's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. Your risk management should not change. Maybe your position size does because your account's going up and you're risking a percentage of that. But make sure that you understand trading will have adversity. Trading will have the greatest joys you will ever feel in your life. If you want to last, it's about managing the trades that are in between, not having big losses, and then being around long enough and understanding when to size up. That's what it really means to be a trader. Stop trying to be a better chart reader. You didn't open a trading account to be the world's greatest technician. You didn't. You opened a trading account to make money. We're going to talk on these live streams about making money. Now, again, I'm going to give the entries, the exits, and the trade management, the stock picks in my private community, obviously, which I have to run because those people invested in themselves. But as long as you're here with me, it's up to you to decide if you want to take the next step and go to the other side. If you don't, I'm 100% okay with that. But hopefully I'm providing enough value for you right now that you really feel it's worth your time with me. And again, I want you to know how grateful I am. And just so you know, this is how I am all day. We give this kind of stuff all day, every day. We are passionate about you. It comes down to I want to help you become the reason you make money. That's what it really comes down to. But the single biggest thing I need, which you're here with me right now, participate. You'll hear me say this all day, every day. Participate. Do not be a wallflower sitting in the corner waiting for somebody else to ask the question that you have, because everybody else's experience is unique to themselves, including you. So ask the question. So I'm actually going to call it a meeting right now. I just want to ask you for one favor. Just one small favor. If you find these videos and these live streams helpful, I'd like to really ask you to do me a favor and click down and subscribe. Hit that alert button. Hit the thumbs up button. But more importantly, I want to keep this conversation going. Click down below the video if you want to learn about what we do in the private community. Learn about that. But more importantly, leave comments below. I want your questions. So what we're going to start doing is next week specifically, I want to start understanding what your challenges are, so that we can answer your challenges on these calls, so that we can have better calls specific to you. I want them to be a lot more geared towards, I can't get past this hurdle, or I don't understand that, or why am I losing so much? Why am I not making enough? Why am I all over the place? Why does it feel like everything I'm looking at is jumbled? I want to answer those questions for you on these calls. All right. So I have to actually head on over to our private gameplay meeting, which starts in a couple of minutes. If you want to contact our team, below the video in the description, you'll see support@stocktradingpro.com. And you can click the link below to learn more about being involved in our 30-day trading bootcamp. All right. Everybody, I want to thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate, I'm grateful that you spend this time with me in the morning. Have an awesome, profitable day today, and have a great 3-day weekend. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much.